Hello, everybody, and welcome back to my YouTube channel. Now, we talked about day one yesterday and what you should expect to see going into day one, right? We talked about some of the storylines, some of the things to look out for, and after day one now, we have a lot of our questions answered. First and foremost, of course, before we get into the video, like, subscribe, of course, leave a comment letting me know what you think about day one of games. And, of course, before we get into day two of games, let's go ahead and go through some of the games we saw yesterday. So, first game was 100 Thieves TSM. 100 Thieves looking like a top 3 team. TSM looking like they're struggling. Still have quite a few issues they need to work out. 100 Thieves looks like they've already figured out almost everything they need to figure out, if I'm being honest with you. Like, team synergy-wise, drafting, everything, they're looking pretty good. They are already showing how much better they are in a lot of roles, especially in the bot lane with FBI Hui. Someday pulling some crazy pressure, closer looking good. DeMonte's, he's able to hold his own, and honestly, I think it should be fine. I don't think they're going to have any issues at all going into this season. Now, with that being said, one thing that I do want to talk about is TSM's lack of kind of synergy, I guess you could say, for now. So overall, they're having issues with comms, they're having issues with drafting, they're having issues with just play in general. Honestly, the players are not performing the way they're supposed to. And of course, there's many reasons behind that. We're not going to get into that. And you can't judge a team off one day's worth of play either. So honestly, you're going to have to give TSM a little bit of time to figure out how they're going to play together, get some synergy going, and then we'll get to really assess where TSM is going to be in that midfield battle. Now, I already told you going into that day one that TSM was going to be towards the lower end of this bracket, or like the mid to low end of this bracket. I do expect them to be somewhere around like 5th or 6th place, so I do still think they should be able to beat some of these other teams. And maybe, we'll get to see that going into the next 2 days worth of games. So yeah, I need to see TSM face off against those other expected midfield teams for us to actually know what's going to happen. But anyways, moving forward. So with that being said, closer looking very good. 100 Thieves team will be in the top 3, just like I thought they would be. Now, if I'm being fully honest with you, for how much TSM has paid for Sword Art, I don't think it's really showing right now. I know that it's going to take a little bit of time for him to get used to the team and, playing together and stuff like that. And maybe, ideally on paper, this team could be like top 4 even, or top 5. But I don't think that's how it's going to happen quite yet. It's going to take quite a bit of time for them to get to that point. And also, he is playing for a new team in a new bot lane in a new league, completely different from what he was doing just last split. So honestly, you can cut Sword Art a lot of slack for the way he's been playing. But I don't think he played well in yesterday's game. Just throwing that out there. Also, he's against, as a debut in LCS, he was also against FBI Hui, which is a pretty nicely coordinated bot lane. Probably one of the top bot lane duos in the entire league. So honestly, there's a lot of slack we can cut for Sword Art, at least for yesterday's worth of games. So let's move on then, and let's talk about game number 2. Now, Team Liquid versus CLG. Now, this was, I don't think anybody had any doubts about the result of this game. It's pretty ridiculous how good this team is and how well they play together. Even without Santorin, they had Armao, I believe, playing in the jungle. Even without Santorin, this team is looking almost at 100%. And I can only imagine how good they're going to be with Santorin once he gets back. And it's going to be some crazy stuff, honestly. They're playing it at an extremely high level, and they're only going to get better from here. So Team Liquid is looking up to expectations at this current point in time. They're not having issues with synergy, and there's a good reason behind that. The only player that's coming from international is Alfari, and I do believe that all the other players on that team have been playing professionally in the LCS for a while now, so it's not going to take them long to get used to each other and how they're playing. And even Alfari, he's coming from being the number 1 top laner in EU. I'm sure he can handle his own on this team as well. Like, honestly, as top laners, I feel like it's a fairly straightforward way. It's a fairly straightforward position to fit into a team. I don't think it takes that much time to get used to your role, because I feel like the role is played very similarly across EU and NA. But anyways, moving forward. Now, let's talk about CLG. Unfortunately, we're not going to get much information from CLG from yesterday's game just because, they're up against Team Liquid. You can't really put a team that's going to be in like the lower midfield and then throw them up against the number one team and then just expect them to do decently well. And that's just not how it works, right? So we're going to have to wait until CLG goes up against FlyQuest or Immortals or TSM or something for us to actually figure out where they're going to be placing in the split. But anyways, the good thing for CLG is that they did get a couple kills, but unfortunately it came at a cost of a bunch of return kills on the side of Team Liquid. Now, I think that's really all there is to say about this. We already knew Team Liquid was going to be good, and CLG unfortunately just had to face them first. So, one thing I will say, Wild Turtle had this crazy blind Kaisa snipe in the Fog of War, which was really nice, but then he also died 2v2 at like 3 minutes into the game. So, I mean, it goes both ways. But anyways, here we go, moving forward. Now let's talk about Game 3. So honestly, after the Game 3 situation, I'm gonna have to reconsider my ranking for Evil Geniuses, honestly. They're looking much better than I thought they would, but it is also just the first game of the season, so I'm going to have to wait until I decide to re-rank them in the power rankings. So I'm going to actually wait out a little bit longer, a couple more days, see how EG does against some of the midfield teams, and then it'll give me a good perspective as to what's happening here. Honestly, I did not expect Cloud9 or Perks or Fudge to come out of the gates rolling. I know they put out a bunch of tweets. Perks put out a tweet saying he was not going to die in this entire tournament. Nope. Did not happen. He died almost immediately. And then we had Fudge saying that, the LCS top laners aren't all that. They're not as great as people think they are. I'm going to be fine. Nope. Impact demolished him. It was a pretty big top diff, honestly. Now, with that being said, he was also playing a tank into Renekton. He was playing Ornn into Renekton, which is not the same matchup that you might think it was like during Worlds time. It's a little bit of a different matchup now with the different items and everything. So honestly, I think it might be a little bit more difficult for the Ornn side of that matchup. But anyways, moving forward from that, I'm not going to make a decision on Fudge just yet. Perks, I can say some stuff about. First things first, I did not think he was going to be good coming into the LCS. In fact, if you watch my reaction to Perks joining C9 video like a little while back on my channel, you can actually find me saying that I have some doubts about Perks and whether or not he's going to be able to perform right away. Because keep in mind, he was playing AD carry before this, and not only that, he coming back into mid lane, especially in NA, it's going to be a little bit different. Honestly, he had a bit of a better kind of matchup, or how do you say it? Like he had more competition than I think he thought he would have in this game. Jizuke played really, really well in this game, honestly. So it was a pretty interesting game. So if you guys haven't watched any of the games from yesterday, I highly recommend this one. Like this is one that you might want to watch. Like it's pretty good. Now the good thing for C9 so far is that Blabber's already at full function. He's already demolishing as a jungler, so honestly that was good to see coming out of Cloud9. But other than that, I mean, it's going to take some time, right? Sven Vulcan are doing okay. Blabber's doing well, actually really well. Perks and Fudge are going to take a little bit longer to get used to playing with the team. And yeah, now let's talk about the bright points for this Evil Geniuses team and why I might have to rethink some of my position rankings for this team. So the addition of Impact and Ignar to this team is actually huge. Now, this was overshadowed by the signing of Perks and Core JJ and all those big names coming out from overseas. But Impact, very, very, very solid. In fact, we saw just how good he can be when he's completely enabled to do what he needs to do. Also, we saw Ignar show off. Just literally show off. Like he and when I say show off, I don't mean in the way that you probably think I do. Like he doesn't do too many flashy moves, but Ignar does so many little things that if you know how to play this game, you would know just how impactful Ignar actually is right now. I would put Ignar, Core JJ as the top two supports right away in this league just because of how Sword Art performed yesterday. Of course, hopefully Sword Art does get a little bit more comfortable and he does climb back up into that top three. But for now, it's going to be Core JJ, Ignar, and Huhi for me in the top three supports. For now, of course. Don't worry. Core JJ fans, don't get mad at me. He'll get there eventually. But anyways, here we go. Now, there were a lot of doubts about Deathly coming into this game, and he performed much better than I thought he would. While Sven Vulcan did hold their own, Deathly is going up against an experienced bot lane from last year, so, people that already have some synergy. A new bot lane and Deathly Ignar actually showed up quite well, I'd say. One good thing about Deathly is he definitely showed that he can be really fearless. He's willing to pull the trigger on big plays, and we saw that a couple times when he went in to just destroy Perks a couple times, actually, on the Kaisa. Anyways, let's talk about Perks real quick, because I know that's what you guys are probably here for anyways. Now, I actually had quite a few doubts, like I had already mentioned, about Perks coming in. I had people telling me, no, he's going to come flying out of the gates as the best mid laner in NA. That's not how things work, okay? When you're in a professional level game, when you're in a professional level team, especially with the whole pandemic going on and all this stuff happening, it's very difficult to get used to a new team. Miscommunication, call-out issues. Now, keep in mind, I'm not saying Perks is bad. That's not what I'm saying at all. Perks is a very good player. It's just going to take some time. It takes everybody some time to get used to playing at this level of play in any league and any new team that you're ever going to go to. So, honestly, this was kind of expected in the first game from Perks. We do hope to see him get a little bit more comfortable in the league over the next couple of games, and he should be back to full form as the number one mid laner not too long from now. I've already seen him do a lot of good things, and it's not going to take him long, honestly. Maybe even today, like, he could just go right back to being number one. But anyways, there were a lot of times where he got a bunch of good, nice solo kills, but he also overextended and mispositioned quite a few times and just didn't know what he was supposed to do. Of course, there's many reasons for that. Lack of communication, lack of warding, just overall team synergy, the issues, that could be one reason for it. Overconfidence is another reason for it. But honestly, I think he might have just been underestimating some of the guys coming into the league a little bit. That's another issue that may have happened for him. But overall, he actually didn't play bad, but he also didn't play amazingly well. Now, anyways, moving forward. Let's keep going. The next two games were basically just for us to see some of the rookie teams going up against each other. Now, with that being said, the results from yesterday do indicate that we're going to get a little bit of a different situation from what I thought it was going to be, at least. So here, let me just go back to yesterday's results. So first of all, FlyQuest Dignitas. Dignitas is looking better than I thought they would, honestly, right off the rip. It was a good team, I guess you could say, but overall in these situations, like having a team like FlyQuest who doesn't have their jungler right now, like what was it, Jose Deodo, he's not even here right now to play with FlyQuest, so honestly I'm going to cut FlyQuest a little bit of slack here. They need a little bit of time to get used to their situation and what they're going to be doing. That pretty much covers that. So yeah, I need to give FlyQuest a little bit more time, honestly. But Dignitas looking good though. I might have to reconsider their ranking from the bottom. CLG Golden Guardians. Golden Guardians also looking very good. CLG looking a little bit not as good as I thought they would. But I'm gonna have to wait until today or the day after to get a little bit more information on those teams. But I wanted to cover the top end of the ladder right away. That way you guys could get some information on that. But yeah, I expect to see 100 Thieves, Team Liquid, Cloud9, and probably Evil Geniuses as the top four going through this tournament. So let's go ahead and get into today, and hopefully the games for today will give us a little bit more information on what we could expect to see, and there's no other wrenches in the works for these teams. But anyways, with that being said, I will see you guys all at the end of today. I apologize for this video getting out a little bit later than I hoped it would be, but for today's one, I'll try to do it right after they're done. So anyways, I'll see you guys all at the end of today. Peace.